During the most ruthless ethnic cleansing that has ever taken place in Western European history, 1649 to 1653, Oliver Cromwell massacred the Irish. Dr. Walter Lynch, Bishop of Clonfert, was one of the bishops forced to leave Ireland at that time. Bishop Lynch always carried with him the picture of the Madonna from Clonfert Cathedral, fearing that this treasured relic might fall into Cromwellian hands. Clonfert was a very important ecclesiastical site in early Christian Ireland, and throughout the Middle Ages until its desecration at the time of the Reformation in the 16th century. Walter Lynch, Bishop of Clonfert, and some of his fellow prelates were arrested and herded onto the island of Inishbofin off Galway coast, where they were detained for transportation. In 1652, with some members of his group, he succeeded in escaping to the continent, where the Irish refugees were warmly received in various countries. Bishop Lynch spent some time in Belgium and Portugal. He later travelled as far as Hungary. For what reason we do not know, although he was doubtless acquainted with the close medieval ties that bound the nation to his own. 10 years in Győr. Bishop Lynch lived in poverty until his plight became known by Bishop János Puszki of Győr, who invited him to his cathedral city, where he was appointed a canon, given a house and a decent income. Eventually he became auxiliary bishop of the diocese. The Irish bishop learned Hungarian and worked for 10 years among the faithful. Bishop Lynch's life in Győr is described as that of an exemplary, humble priest. He spent his income supporting the poor. The people of Győr truly loved this foreigner for his generosity and devotion. Although grateful for the hospitality he received, his heart still longed for his native country. Thus, after 10 years, when the persecution in Ireland had subsided, he prepared with great expectation for his homeward journey from Clonfert to Győr. On the eve of his departure back to Ireland, on July 14th, 1663, Walter Lynch died and was buried in the crypt of Győr Cathedral. During his dying hours, he gave the Bishop of Győr his only material treasure, the picture of the Madonna of Ireland, the image of the Virgin and Child, one of his few belongings, was then hung on the wall of the northern aisle of Győr Cathedral. This picture had hung in the Cathedral of Clonfert in Ireland. Hungarians have, for more than 3 centuries, flocked to see it, especially on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. The picture is known as the Madonna of Ireland, but it is also known as the Consoler of the Afflicted. The St. Patrick's Day miracle of 1697. Years passed, and on the feast of St. Patrick, 1697, while large number of the faithful were present in Győr Cathedral, an awe-inspiring event took place. A bloody sweat was observed to come over the figure of the Blessed Virgin in the picture. From the eyes of the Blessed Virgin in the picture, bloody tears rolled down for 3 hours, from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Drops of blood fell onto the pictures of infant Jesus. As the blood continued for 3 hours, linen towels, which are still retained at her shrine under glass, were used by several priests to wipe the perspiring face as blood and tears continued to flow. Later they took the picture off the wall and removed it from its frame to examine it, but could find no natural explanation. A witness wrote, "Then did an extraordinary and naturally inexplicable phenomenon happen. That right on March 17th, the holiday of Bishop St. Patrick, Apostle of Ireland, around 6 o'clock in the morning, while numerous people were hearing Holy Mass, all of a sudden it was noted that this blessed lady's image wept. Immediately the multitude swarmed about the place, seeing the thing with astonishment. Some began to cry and repent their sins, others to doubt. From the whole town gathered inhabitants of all ranks and all religions. Those from the chapter took the image from the wall. The wall was dry, and the image not only continued to weep, but was wet with sweat of blood. The drops were wiped with pure white cambric, but the image painted on the canvas wept again, so that a few drops fell on the cheek of the baby Jesus even, whose marks are still to be seen in the picture. Moreover, the cambric has been preserved to the present day in silver frame in the treasury of the capital church. For 3 hours did the vision last, during which the church rang with the devoted prayer of the Christian multitude that gathered there together. Among them was Count Hester Sigebert, the imperial military governor of Győr. The count, a member of the nobility and military general, was so moved by the event that he erected a new altar in the cathedral in honour of the Blessed Virgin. News of the event immediately spread throughout the city, and not only Catholics, but Protestants and Jews flocked to see the miracle. It was witnessed by thousands, and many of them gave testimony of what they saw. A document signed by more than 100 witnesses bears the signatures of the imperial governor of the city, the mayor, and all the councilmen and the bishop, some Catholics, Calvinist and Lutheran ministers, and a Jewish rabbi, all of whom volunteered to give testimony of an undeniable event. A scantily bloody spot is still visible on the preserved linen cloth. In 1667, a miraculous picture was set at a magnificent Baroque altarpiece in Győr Cathedral. A professor of chemistry was given permission in the mid-1900s to chemically examine and analyse a particle removed from the darkest vein. What the chemical test found was a mixture of human blood and tears. Persecution in Ireland. In 1697, the Hungarians enjoyed a time of greater peace than they had known for many years. But during that year in Ireland, a greater blow than ever was to fall upon Bishop Lynch's co-religionists. No wonder the Madonna was weeping as she was banished from Ireland. In that year, the English Parliament passed an edict that all priests were to be expelled from Ireland, from all the British Isles. Churches were confiscated, and all traces of Catholic religion were wiped out. In its place, a Protestant church called the Church of Ireland was established as a national Irish church, and only its religious practices were allowed. Even the dead could only be buried by ministers of that religion. Banishment from Ireland. The Banishment Act of 1697 was an act of the English Parliament of Ireland, which banished all ordinaries and regular clergy of Roman Catholic Church from Ireland. By May 1st, 1698, all popish archbishops, bishops, vicar generals, deans, Jesuits, monks, friars, and other regular popish clergy had to be in one of several named ports awaiting a ship out of the country. Remaining or entering the country after this date would be punished as a first offence with 12 months imprisonment, followed by deportation. A second offence constituted high treason with the death penalty. Sir Walter Lynch's successor as Bishop of Clonfert, Murtagh Donnellan, was arrested in 1703 but was rescued by an armed crowd. In the archives of the Cathedral of Győr, there is a document written in 1697 on parchment relating this event. It is signed not only by the clergy and laity who were present at the Mass, but by the mayor and councilmen, by governor, Lutheran and Calvinist preachers, a rabbi. Over 100 signatures represent eyewitness of the miracle. In 1874, Pope Pius IX granted a plenary indulgence on the feasts of St. Patrick and the Assumption, before which public novenas are held. Our Lady of Ireland. In 1913, Archbishop Schrems of Toledo, Ohio, visited Győr in Hungary. He saw the beautiful painting and was deeply moved when told of the wonderful event. He requested a copy for many Irish Catholics in his diocese who would be happy to learn the history and to possess a picture of Our Lady of Ireland. The copy was placed face to face with the original and then given to Bishop Schrems. On August 23, 1914, Archbishop Schrems dedicated the new St. Stephen's Cathedral in Toledo, Ohio. The Hungarian people had paid 2/3 of the cost of the building. The bishop presented the Madonna to his church, saying, "I am convinced that the picture will be treasured in a Hungarian church just as much as it would be in an Irish one." Both Hungarians and Irish were thrilled. The image depicts Mary crowned as Queen, Our Lady of Ireland, and before her, lying on several circular pillars, is the infant, also crowned as a little king and covered with royal robes.